What up, y'all? We are here. We are here. We about to talk about some Project 2025. What the hell does this mean for us? I don't know. Gonna find out. Well, I have an idea what it means. So, it's a lot of fear mongering going on right now in the news. You see people crashing out. Did y'all see DL Hughley crashing out? Going at George Clooney? Oh my God! I'm seeing motherfuckers it's like, it's the end of the world! So I just want to bring some context to Project 2025. This is more of a news show. I know that a lot of y'all come to me for music or whatever. This is one of those shows we gotta always talk about the real stuff too, and at least shine the light on the different things going on in government because we are citizens of the United States. Yes, we are Black Americans, but we still Americans. We are the limited edition Americans. You can find this shirt on DewanB.com year round. We are the limited edition Americans, the ones that's been here since before there was a United States of America. Since before the 13 colonies. You dig? But although we do have a unique position in the government, in this land, we still must always stay abreast as to what's going on in the land and discuss these agendas and their effects on us as Black people. Because, yes, these agendas most definitely have an effect. But the way they affect us, how we react from the effect, is different than everyone else. So we gotta have these discussions from time to time to see what's going on in the news, in the world, in the media. So I want to thank everybody out there with the long attention spans. We are team long attention span here. What's up, Aries? What's up, Stun? What's up, Quan? C. Vessi, Bruce, Mike C. Thank y'all for joining. He just said Biden needs a bottle and a nap. Ha ha. That's very true. That's very true. And so yeah. You're right about that. The same way we got through, the same way we gonna get through. That's right. It's a lot of people who are new to this nation, and this is their first go around as something like a Project 2025. For us, Black Americans, we call it Tuesday. And so, yeah, that's what we here for today. Plus, look, man, look. We gotta remind us, man. We gotta remind the world who the hell we are. We gotta remember who we are. We gotta remember who we are. We forget that we oftentimes forget that, and we allow us to be scared. So let's break down Project 2025. What does it mean for us? What does it mean in general? And then we're gonna talk about some of the shit that we saying. Oh, and also later on today we're gonna have a music show later on today. It's gonna be we're gonna review some of the BS, this Eminem album that just dropped today. Talk about how horrible it is. But we're not gonna stay stuck on Eminem. But what we're gonna do later on is Incense and Ashtrays. And you can catch it live on Twitter for free. But the archives, you have to be a subscriber on Patreon to get. We're going to introduce the new artist today. And that's on my lowest tier Patreon, the one that's $4.44. All my playlists, all my music goes onto that. So your $4.44 goes a long way to support what I do. Part of, when it comes to the music stuff, it takes time to do these shows. And so I appreciate y'all who joined the Patreon on that level, because we will get more consistent on Fridays, dropping more of that. But tonight we're gonna introduce we're gonna talk a little bit about Eminem's new album, but not too much. We're gonna really be playing a lot of the new artists that are out, and not just new artists, it's a lot of dope music that's dropped in the last year, in the last 5 months. But we're gonna focus on new music that's dropped in the last few years. A lot of y'all ask me, okay, who are the new artists doing music? What's the new sound? What's the new music? That's what we're gonna focus on tonight. Some recent music dropped by Kamasi. Some recent music dropped by 2012. By Layla, not Layla didn't jump. What's your name? We're gonna play some Layla Hathaway too, because I gotta play her. But some new Robert Glasper. It's a lot of new music that's been dropping lately, so we're gonna play some new music tonight and have a breakdown. But it will be live on Mixcloud and Twitter tonight. Archive will be on the Patreon exclusively. All right, and then there'll be extended content for the Patreon subscribers only, that you'll get more than what we just showed on the live broadcast. All right, so let's get into it. Patreon links, all that shit's in the description box. You dig? So let's first break it down. First things first. What is Project 2025? We're going to break down what is Project 2025. Then we're going to get into who drafted it, the Heritage Foundation. And then we're going to go into the implications, what that means as far as the election goes. We're going to talk a little bit about what we've dealt with as black people and how this really ain't shit when it comes to us. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the fear tactics this country likes to use to influence the direction in which we vote. But first things first, what is Project 2025? Project 2025 is, let me see here. Let me see here. Let me change my title here. Let's see. There we go. Let me change the colors. Let me change the wording on it. Let me change the wording on it. And then let's see here. Red. All right, cool. What is Project 2025? Let's break it down. Project 2025 is a set of initiatives that are pledged by the Heritage Foundation. The Heritage Foundation is a foundation that's been around since 1973. And what they are is they're a conservative think tank. They are what's known as a conservative think tanks. And think tanks determine how policy moves. Think tanks determine how policy moves. Think tanks are the ones they're organized. They're basically organized shitholes that's used by people that wealthy people donate to, and they come up with ideas on how to screw up America in favor of the wealthy. See, oftentimes people think that it's inside government, and there was a time, and it still is a time, that things do happen. There are still, and I will use the word conspirators, because all conspiracy means is two people coming together to create a plan. So yes, there are conspirators within government, but a lot of your policies you see right now happen because think tanks come together to create policies. They take a lot of money in from wealthy donors, and they use that money and that influence to go to politicians. They donate and put money behind politicians, and when those politicians get into office, those politicians then push the policy of these think tanks. And the Heritage Foundation is one of many think tanks. That's a Republican think tank. Another one you have on the Democrat side is Act Blue. Act Blue is a place that takes in a lot of money for Democrats, and they push a lot of your things like they were pushing your Black Lives Matter agenda. They push things like the gay marriage once upon a time, and a lot of your LGBTQ rights. A lot of your Democrat left leaning rights are pushed by Act Blue, and a lot of your right wing thinking points and talking points and policies are pushed by the Heritage Foundation. And there are dozens of these foundations. That's where I recommend you do your research on these different think tanks. But let's go into the Heritage Foundation in particular. The Heritage Foundation, they're the ones who are putting the policies together for this Project 2025. And let's go into some details of what they want about Project 2025. I like to go right to the source. We can go to the news and blah, 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 and secondary sites, but like they teach you in anthropology, like I was taught in college, if it's possible, you go to the primary source. If the primary source isn't around or they're not on record, then from there you go to secondary and sources. Secondary sources meaning the sources reporting on the primary source. But if the primary source is around, go directly to them motherfuckers. And the primary source is here. So let's take it from the donkey's mouth. This is what they're talking about. This is the bullshit what they're talking about, undoing the damage the left has caused. This is where they fearmonger their wealthy donors in the about part. They got to do a little bit of jerking off to their people to get them to put some money in. So they got to scare the fuck out of them. So they start off talking about the radical left and all the agendas that the left is putting out, which the left has policies every bit as harmful as the right. Neither side really gives a fuck about none of us. Black, white, gay, Latino, indifferent. But like I always say, those that identify as others, you guys tend to take on and sign on with the trade-off of the benefits, the fringe benefits of whiteness and proximity to whiteness. So y'all generally end up fucking us over. So although I know that all these policies are there to damage all of us, no matter what your color, sex, creed, or anything, generally people who are non-black take the trade-off of being fucked over, as long as they're less fucked over than we're fucked over. So for those of you who subscribe to that mindset, but for those of you who are down for a greater humanity and one love and a love for us against the wealthy elite, then I'm down with you. But I know that, a lot of people from you guys' groups, when it comes down to it, y'all down until the wealthy elite give y'all a few little extra shekels to play the white versus black game. And 98% of y'all gonna play the white game against me. So that's my point of view on that for anybody who comes again in and saying, well, everybody's affected. I know everybody's affected, but they accept being less affected as long as I get more affected. And that's why I got to speak to black people. It's not through being racist. It's not through being xenophobic. It's through my study of history between Bacon's rebellions, the Populist Party rebellions, and all the different different insurrections from 1690 through now. You guys have chosen your color over what's right. And I'm talking about 9 out of 10 of you. And when John Brown was lynched, y'all sat idly by and allowed him to be lynched on Harper's Ferry, which ultimately led to the Civil War. When that white man stayed, and there have not been any John Browns since 1859. So let's tell the whole fucking truth, all right? So let's get into it more. So the project is the effort of a broad coalition of conservative organizations that have come together to ensure successful administration begins January 2025. So right here, they're already showing you that they are not directly connected to Trump. So when Donald Trump says that, hey, I'm not tied to them, he's technically right. But at the same time, the Heritage Foundation they push policies that Republicans since Reagan have been administering, all right? Going back to Reagan. So that's the project. They're telling you all about that. Now they're here to tell you about, let me see here. Policy. Here's a policy agenda. I ain't about to read the whole goddamn thing. I ain't about to even go all the way through it. But it's talking about overall, in a nutshell, when you go through it, it's talking about education, basically taking over education and making people are already stupid as fuck, but it wants to make people even more stupid. It really wants to push the voucher program, that same voucher program that who was that boy? That boy Jay-Z. Y'all know that policy I told y'all about, Jay-Z in Philadelphia? This policy right here, for all you niggas going around talking about if Trump gets in office, look what's gonna happen. You got everybody's favorite Negro pushing the same agenda for Philadelphia school, because Philadelphia is held strong with keeping their public schools strong. And you got everybody's favorite Negro pushing some shit that's in the Heritage Foundation education reform system. Look at this. This basically, if you read through it, and I'm not gonna read through the whole thing, but I encourage you to go to static.project2025.org. It goes through the whole thing about privatizing these schools and getting these schools on them voucher programs. So some of the shit that they scaring you from, everybody's favorite camel is pushing over in Philadelphia, after he told you niggas not to kneel. But I'm the greatest, Hove. Yeah, everybody's favorite Negro is pushing some Project 2025 shit. So it's going through, and again, I encourage you to go, because again, I am not about to read all this shit. We'll be here all fucking day. I've read through a lot of it myself. It's talking about the agriculture. Basically, in a nutshell, when you go through it, it's talking about giving presidents, damn near basically exclusive power. It's talking about, cutting the education system down to where it's a skeleton shell of itself. The Department of Homeland Security can come have more knockdown, drag-out measures against the citizens. They basically want the military to be able to come in to the country, or military adjacent organizations, private military, paramilitary organizations, to come inside the United States and fuck up the citizens. You dig what I'm saying? It's talking about getting rid of mostly all your labor laws. It's talking about getting rid of DEI. It's talking about privatizing the Department of Transportation to where, where basically these private companies get in. Like you have quasi in certain cities around the country. So it's going through basically Project 2025. It's talking about revamping the structure of America in a lot of ways. And this is why I say black people have no thing to be worried about. The reason why I say that is because what they're talking about doing, the way they're talking about revamping, we as Black America have already experienced. And on top of that, it's nothing new. It's nothing new for us. We've been under shit like this. We've been under this. Kissinger and Nixon destroyed the Department of Education started being destroyed in 1969, folks. Did y'all know that? Starting here in California with Reagan in 68. When Reagan took vocations out of the schools in 1968 here in California, Nixon made it part of national policy in 1969. and there's been a slow degradation of the American education system. But the difference is it started on Black America. And that's what I want to get at when it comes to this whole Project 2025 shit. What it's talking about doing nationally, it's been targeting Black people since basically the civil rights legislation was signed. The civil rights legislation was pretty much done being signed by 1968. By 1969, they started dismantling it, targeting us. Because basically, Black Americans have been the only Americans that have not received the full benefit of the United States Constitution and Bill of Rights protections. You could say, like, when it comes to the civil rights protections, corporations have received more civil rights protections in courts than Black Americans have. Did you know that? Going back to the civil rights protections of the 18th, not the 1968, 63, 65 civil rights laws. We can go back to the civil rights laws of 1868, 1867, 69, when in 1870, Black people have never fully experienced the benefits. The 13th Amendment was for us to be citizens when we were born, and they turned around and used that policy to immigrate generations and generations and generations of people here to America, starting with the Chinese in the 1870s. They gave us a little bit of something to give us a little bit of rights, and then turned around and used it for new groups to come into America and get citizenship consideration. And then when we turned around and got civil rights money for Black people, they made them minorities in the 60s. So when those same minorities came, they got the money that we got. And then over a protracted period of time, it got watered down to where we're the least beneficiary of what we paid for and what we fought for. So you cannot name one Supreme Court decision that's upheld things for the benefit of just Black people when the 1860s, when the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment were all written into the Constitution and into law. It was a Supreme Court that said this can't just apply for Black people. It has to apply for corporations. It has to apply for new people, for this and for that. The Supreme Court has never held up any protection that's protected Black people. They've either outright dismantled that protection or they diluted that protection to a point to where it now put us back in the back of the line. Never in the front of the line like the Native American. The Native American, you see it yourself. Go apply for a job. Are you Native American? Go apply for any government grant, any government thing. If you're in business and you apply for anything from the government, if you're Native American, guess what? You go to the front of the line. Not if you Black. Appreciate the Cash App, Starlet Thompson. Appreciate the Cash App. Man, hit the Cash App, y'all. To Starlet Thompson with the Cash App. Hit the Cash App. Let me know if y'all feeling what I'm saying. Let me know if y'all feeling what I'm saying. We're breaking this all down. We're breaking this all down. So if you're Black, even when you have gotten laws in your favor, it's been the United States Supreme Court that said, you can't have it. We don't get due process, our Fifth Amendment right of due process, when there's a reasonable doubt us against somebody else. We get instantly persecuted. And when we do get our just day in court, like OJ, like Michael Jackson, we still get called guilty. Bill Cosby, even though they showed that they broke they broke the Constitution to put Bill Cosby in prison to begin with. He's out. He's not going to get any restitution for the time that they used to put him in. And in the court of public opinion, he's still guilty. So we as Black Americans, we've never totally benefited from these so-called rights. So now what they're doing is Since you guys and everyone else, non-black people, have been okay with sitting idly by watching us get abused, misused, and mistreated by law, now they're coming for you. And that's what Project 25 is. It's putting on paper and making legal what's been common law against black people since the inception of the United States. They're now trying to make written law for you. So as black Americans, all I gotta say is welcome to black America. They've been when they come in with these charter schools, they target the black school districts first. When they come for government paramilitary organizations, the crash unit, LAPD, the SWAT team, LAPD. These were all basically paramilitary organizations. In Chicago, you guys were getting waterboarded. That's why, do y'all know the first reparations in America for restitution for fucking black people over happened in Chicago back in 2012 when there was over $300 million settlement for black families that suffered police harassment and targeting in Chicago. That whole waterboarding technique that the United States, that President Bush they were trying to bring him up into international court crimes for waterboarding. Well, they innovated that technique on the streets of Chicago between 1968 and 1992, and the city of Chicago had to pay reparations for that. Go look it up. Those what ended up becoming an international war crime started right on the streets of Chicago in 1968. Documented, proven, it's not alleged. Here we go. Let me see. Not the Edison, Illinois one. Chicago. I'm looking it up. I'm looking up that lawsuit right now. I think it was 2023, 2013, somewhere around there. It's hard to find. No. Let me see here. Police abuse. Here we go. Here we go. Look at right here. This is one of them. It was a few of these settlements. No, I'm not about to. No, turn the homepage. I'm out. Fuck all that. I'm not part of the Chicago Tribune, so these hoe ass niggas won't let me read the article. See, a lot of these articles got scrubbed too. But if I had time, you could look it up. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. This is one of them. There were like full on like paramilitary style terrorism tactics the police were using against black residents in Chicago. No, this is another one. God damn, this is a new one. I don't have time to look it up, but I'll look it up. Y'all can look it up. The settlement happened around 2012, 2013. Y'all can look it up. But anyway, I'm saying all this to say black people we've never received the full benefit of the protections of the Constitution. So when it comes to this Project 2025, what can I say other than welcome to America? At least it's welcome to our America. If you wanted something different, maybe you should be proactive when you see groups of people being mistreated. Maybe you should be more proactive. Y'all ever notice how they always put it on black people to be proactive? When we see the Republicans doing something to immigrants, we got to be the ones that's proactive. when we see what's going on with the people in Ukraine and why they need the Democrats tell us, well, we need to be more open-hearted for the people in Ukraine and be more proactive about solving their issues for them coming to America. Oh, black people, you need to be more proactive about what's going on with this marginalized group of people over here this week, and then whatever marginalized group of people we create next week. Migrant situation, people coming in from Nicaragua, through Central America, through Mexico, through the Texas and California border. Black people, you got to be more understanding. When the fuck are people going to be more understanding of us? When are people going to say, hey, like Dr. King said, mistreatment anywhere is mistreatment everywhere, or injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. Let's go proactively get these black people reparations, because we have been sitting idly by watching them get fucked up. No, but they want us to stay quiet about reparations to solve issues for people that are going to be dealing with what we've been dealing with since the inception of this country, our Bill of Rights, our rights not being respected as citizens. Oh, so you think that's supposed to get us to vote? And furthermore, when you look into the Heritage Foundation, man, the Heritage Foundation been on this bullshit, man. This ain't nothing new. Let's go down and break it down even further. The Heritage Foundation, they're pro-Republican. Whoever the fuck gets in office, either president or the Republicans have control of the Senate and the House like they did under Clinton. Let's look at some of the shit that the Heritage Foundation has done. Let's look. Let's look at how long they've been fucking with people. We as black people, we supposed to be scared now, but look what they've been doing. The Reagan Strategic Defense Initiative. What that was, to break that down, was that's when America was in the 70s. Throughout the 70s, was starting to pull back budgets from military, from Vietnam, and Carter had, for the most part, didn't drop a bomb on anybody. Carter didn't do anything to really push the military forward. America was still focused on America first at the time. And so it was these thug rat bastards that went to Reagan and put Reagan on that beefing up the military in the Cold War against Russia shit that basically took money out of inner city programs. A lot of your inner city programs got ripped apart, raped, and fucked up so they can pay for this Strategic Defense Initiative. What's up, Sean Mims? He says, Den's going to Harvey and DL. Are we going to get to Harvey and DL? We going to get to Harvey and DL. We're going to get to DL and Base and Whoopi and all that. We're going to get to them. We're going to get to them. But appreciate the donation. Jason, I appreciate the Cash App. Appreciate the Cash App, Jason. Let me know y'all get the Cash App right here. $ DeJuan Brown. $ DeJuan Brown. So anyway, so that's something that they've already did. Something that was paid for directly out of inner city school, out of development of programs that beefed up inner city America, Black America. They did the historic 1996 welfare reform. That 1996 welfare reform, although we do understand that white people in the Midwest are the biggest, highest beneficiaries of welfare, they used the blackface to do it. And furthermore, this is something I want to preach to y'all that's always talking about. It's like, we always get black people that want to chastise black people. He said, Kamala don't talk sister girl when seeing Latinos. You goddamn right, Sean, man. You goddamn right. But this is to show you how this is a message for people who like overly preaching to black people, talking about how stupid we are politically. Them fucking rednecks in the middle of the country are probably dumber politically, because we are not the smartest politically people. We're not. We vote in these huge blocks for parties that don't give a fuck about us. We don't really take the time to, and we don't really take much time collectively. Not the people in here, not the individuals, but collectively, we don't take the time to really learn our political systems and understand how to work it. But we ain't the only ones. That's the majority of America. Appreciate the Cash App, AH. Appreciate the Cash App. That's how America works. America's politically stupid. And these same white folks that vote in Republicans, they vote in this Heritage Foundation shit. These Heritage Foundation policies fuck up white America. Because although they use black people as the target, like they used us as the face of it, I remember I was 15 when that welfare reform shit was going on. I was 14, 15, 16. I remember hearing my dad and my mom arguing about that in the house. And my mom was like, man, yeah, get the motherfuckers off welfare. My dad like, shit. Either my father saying back in 96, look, man, I'd rather keep people on welfare because if them people on welfare don't get it, that money ain't gonna do nothing but go back to them rich white folks. So why not let the people get it? Because it's not like if we take it off welfare, it's gonna come and get spread amongst the rest of us. My father told me that shit when I was 15. He said, watch, DeJuan, these white folks, when they take stuff from people, they don't spread it back to the rest of us. They keep it. That was damn near 30 years ago. What happened? I remember them arguments in the Clinton administration. Because I remember my cousins used to stay in the projects, and I used to get mad because they used to have better toys than I did when I was a kid. I was really in on that welfare debate when I was a kid. Because I remember when I was like 12 or 11, I remember seeing my cousins that stayed in the project. Them niggas always had toys. Them niggas would have the newest Hot Wheels. They would have the newest goddamn, what do you call them things? The little cars. Remember the little cars you used to have? The little cars and shit? They would have the newest scooters, the newest bikes. They Christmas would be full of goddamn shit. They would have the newest Jordans. My cousins in the projects, them niggas had a Reebok pumps, all that shit. And I used to have like the regular basic shoes. Christmas, we'd have like 2 or 3, maybe 4 gifts. You know what I mean? We didn't really have that much. We had something under the tree, but it wasn't a whole lot. You know what I mean? School, I never dressed fly when I was a kid. And I remember asking my mom and my dad. I used to be like, why is it that they be having all the best gifts, all the best clothes, and I don't? Do you know what my dad said to me? My dad and my mom, I was like 11 or 12. You know what they said? They said, you see that backyard you got back there? Because I used to like digging holes in the backyard. I used to like just playing with my dog and shooting basketball. Bucket in my backyard. My mom and dad said, they were like, look, we go to work every day so we can afford this house for you to live in. So you can dig as many ditches in the backyard as you want. And you can do around, and we used to have like apricot trees and plum trees. And I used to play t-ball with the plums. Like springtime when the plums are growing in on a tree, they green. And when they be hanging, I get my baseball bat up and knocking them holes all across. I used to always be in my backyard when I was a kid. Crenshaw District. In the Crenshaw District, we had fruit trees. Knocking them holes out. But my dad and my mom said, look, you wouldn't be able to do this shit if we was on welfare. If we was living on Section 8. If we was living in the projects. Because 1, you wouldn't have a backyard. 2, if we did rent out a house, the owner wouldn't allow us to do the shit that we allow you to do back here. And when you work, you don't get as much. You know, they have the extra money because they don't pay their rent, they don't pay for rent, and they get this money. This is back in the early 90s before that welfare reform thing happened. And I remember thinking like, God damn, they get to stay at home and they get more money to give gifts than you, mama and daddy. Y'all niggas stupid. Y'all should have got on welfare so I could have some Jordans. Oh, my thought. I'm like, shit. Man, mama, quit your goddamn job. Shit, I want some Jordans, bitch. And I wasn't saying that to my mom. I use that word. But in my head, that's what I'm thinking. I want some Jordans, bitch. Quit. That's what I'm thinking. I would never tell my mom that. I would have got slapped the next Wednesday if I did. But in my head, it got me thinking like, yo, my parents work every day, but at least we have a house. You know what I mean? I grew up in a fairly coddled environment. My family, you know, that even though my parents worked a lot, you know, I got what I want. I didn't get the big things that I want. To this day, I don't wear the best shoes or the best clothes. I'm not much of a dresser. I don't care about the newest shoes. But I got something instilled in me back then. And then I was able to see that. Because as a kid, when I was young, when I was 10 or 11, I really thought my mom should quit her job and get on welfare so I could have better toys. I didn't know better. And then time happened. And then 94, even though that law passed in 96, they started arguing welfare reform in 94. I'll never forget. Because Clinton got in office in 92. But in 94, that's when the Republicans gained control of the Senate and the House. So now the Republicans had a highway to policy. And I was always very politically astute, even as a child. And I remember hearing these arguments over welfare. I didn't know about the Heritage Foundation back then. But I remember listening to the news. And back then, mind you, I just had this lesson from my mom and my dad when I was a kid. So now I'm listening to the news. I was listening, like my mom, sometimes she would listen to Larry Elder. But when I was on the way home from school, around the 93, 94, I would listen to Larry Elder on the radio. And I would hear his white folks talking. But then I would also listen to BET, to Kurt Loder on MTV News. Y'all remember Kurt Loder, MTV News? Kurt Loder would give you some information about what's going on. Then you had Roland Martin. He was on Video Soul. When BET had Video Soul, they had the Roland Martin news breakdown. And then you had the Vibe magazine talking a little bit about the welfare reform. And so I remember hearing the diverse opinions on welfare reform, but overall, ABC News, NBC News, CNN, there was no MSNBC at this point. There was no Fox News yet. Fox News did not exist at this point. Fox News didn't start until 1996. But I remember hearing all this stuff, and they really, really tried to make you demonize people on welfare. And they used black people as the face of it. They constantly used black people as the face of what's wrong with welfare. And at the time in the 90s, I didn't know white folks in Kentucky was the main ones on welfare. I thought it was them niggas down the street that was living in Section 8 that was shooting up the block on Rodeo Drive, where I grew up. So it got even us black folks really kind of going at the niggas on welfare. And so although the welfare reform was introduced by the Heritage Foundation, what I got to see was, you know, when it came down to it, when it came down to welfare reform, that was a policy that not only hurt a lot of the black Americans that the media at the time made me angry at. By the way, I ain't gonna sit there like I was always innocent. I didn't always see through the bullshit. My dad would, but my dad would just say shit and then go smoke his weed and be like, all right, my dad would just say like one, two things like, all right. And my dad told me, the money ain't coming back. It's gonna go to them white folks. And I'm over here in school thinking like, Pops, yeah, you don't know. It's a new generation, man. We got to get rid of this shit. I'm listening to what the fuck CNN telling me on Larry King. I'm listening to hard copy and the person, that the black family. And I'm over here falling for the bullshit. I know it. I'm not going to sit here and act like I always knew. Nigga, this is wisdom. These great chinny chin hairs is, oh, DeJuan, you fucked up in 93. Let's get it right in 2023. You dig? That's how I think. So, why am I saying all that? I'm saying all that to say this was a Democrat president that was in office when this 1996 welfare reform came. Although the Republican Congress and Senate pushed it to the top, Bill Clinton could have easily vetoed the bill. Bill Clinton had power to veto. Appreciate the cash app, Sean. Bill Clinton had power to veto the bill, but he didn't. So while they're over here telling us what we should be scared at, why should we be scared? Understand this. Understand this. Every time they're making us scared at something and saying if you put this party in, that's going to happen. Whatever it is that they're talking about, both parties, you can be for damn sure, guarantee, understand, both parties are in on the bullshit. And they play good cop versus bad cop. And they make it seem as if you're going to get some kind of benefit from the government taking from somebody else. When in actuality, that money's only going to go to a few wealthy people on top. I said that to say it don't matter who the fuck they put in office. When they have an agenda that they want to push, that it's enough people that have a lot of deep pockets that are going to be influenced by, it's going to pass. Whether Trump's in office, Biden's in office, or whatever. Now, the Heritage Foundation does, for the most part, caucus with Republicans. They're more Republican-leaning. Yes, they are. But as you see right here, with the 1996 Reform Act, that happened during the Clinton administration. So you can't let these motherfuckers scare you. They're going to push whoever the fuck they want to push regardless. Again, this the same company that's for school choice. The same thing your boy Jay-Z is pushing. Let's never forget who this traitor is. Any chance I get, and if you a Jay-Z dick rider, look, I don't care. You can like his music all you want. But I'm never going to miss an opportunity to point out who this nigga is. Because black people, historically, we get fucked over when a nigga we trust come back to us with a message. Every goddamn revolt from Denmark VC to Black Caesar, to any time we've gone up and we say, you know what, what's up? Let's stand for ourselves. It's always been a Jay-Z ass nigga that has gone back to Massa and say, hey, Massa, look what they's about to do. Oh, or they come back from Massa. Hey now, listen to me. This is hip hop Al Sharpton. That's who the fuck Jay-Z is. He's hip hop Al Sharpton. He's hip hop Jesse. He's hip hop Jesse. I won't even give him Jesse Jackson, because Jesse Jackson did do a lot of great shit at one point. This nigga's hip hop Al Sharpton, because he's pushing Heritage Foundation policies. Where did it go? You see it right here, and I am reading from heritage.org. I am reading from heritage.org. This is the Heritage Foundation's own fucking website. Hip Hop Camel is pushing the same shit they're pushing. So I don't want to hear none of that shit about, oh, if you, and I'm not telling you who to vote for. I don't give a fuck who you vote for. I ain't vote for neither one of these bastards. Fuck Trump, fuck Hillary, Biden, Kamala, whoever the hell they got running as a Democrat. Fuck them. So I don't care who you vote for, because at the end of the day, the Electoral College casts the votes anyway. I'm in California. Whether I vote or not, that shit's going blue. So we don't vote for president anyway. So miss me with all these stupid ass arguments you niggas like to get involved in. We, the citizenry, do not vote for president. I don't know how many fucking political science books do you have to read to get the message. We don't vote for president. We give a suggestion on who we'd like to be president. And if that suggestion is in alignment with their agenda, that person becomes president. But in situations like 2000 with Al Gore, he wasn't in alignment. Going back to Tilden versus Rutherford B. Hayes, Tilden wasn't in alignment because Tilden was going to extend Reconstruction. Rutherford B. Hayes was coming in to get rid of it. So Rutherford B. Hayes got the nod. Thank you, Supreme Court, for setting us out as Black Americans yet again. The Southern Compromise. We as Black people were sold out. When we finally got some fucking justice in the 12 years of Reconstruction, the key contingent point of the election of 1866 was what to do with the Black population. The compromise was, yeah, the people probably voted for Tilden, but hey, we're going to compromise and give the election to Rutherford B. Hayes as long as he gets rid of the Southern Compromise that gives federal protections from Black people. So even in times it is in this country's history to where there's been something on the verge, whichever person was going to harm Black people most is the person that got elected. The person that's going to harm Black people most, every time this country's been at a tie, at an impasse, the one that's going to harm Black people most, Bush over Gore, 2000, we can go back to my lifetime. Can I say Gore was pro-Black, Mr. Black this, Mr. Black that? No, I can't say that. But Gore wasn't targeting Black people either. That motherfucker Bush, we knew that nigga wasn't shit. We knew Bush. Bush was going to do whatever the fuck he could to dismantle this government. And he did. So we don't vote for president anyway. So we just talking turkey so us as Black folks can know what's going on in this country that we live in. But make no mistake about it, we have no control over who becomes president. We have the illusion of power, okay? So yeah. I look at the chat. Child of Ogun said, right, we've been under Project 2025 for 400 years. You goddamn right. I ain't scared of this shit. Look at this. Success at preventing amnesty. I'm with that. That's not a policy I'm against. And that's a policy that's in alignment with Trump's policy. So I'm not against that. I'm not against that. I'm not going to say I'm not going to push for it, but look, I'm not against it. There's nothing I fight against. This is America First. Here's another thing with the Heritage Foundation. Trump has his own political action committee, his own think tank. And that's this here, America First policy. This is Trump's direct sponsored. So even when it comes to Project 2025, what we see in that, the things that Trump is going to bring into his administration are going to be parts of Project 2025 that are in alignment with his own America First agenda. So yeah, you can expect that border part to be in there. You can expect the dismantling of the EPA to be in there, which the EPA is something that I love. We need the EPA. We need this stuff. But when people allow government to focus this bullshit on a particular group of people, you cannot contain cancer. If you allow cancer to exist in your environment, in the host, cancer is going to spread however the fuck it wants to spread. And America is okay with cancer as long as that cancer is targeting Black people. What you see here with this Project 2025 and Trump's and some of these Trump policies, it's the cancer that America could have gotten rid of through paying reparations to Black people and restoring the wrongs that they've written and allowing a new constitution moving forward that gives truly equal rights and justice for all. We could do that. But America's not interested in that. America doesn't want to repair, and Americans and people of America don't want to repair. So since you don't want to repair, the cancer will spread. The cancer will spread because you don't want to cut the cancer out. You just want to confine the cancer to Black America. And that's the problem. So now you got the Negroes fighting it out. Let's see where my bookmark's at. What's on my bookmark? Do I have a bookmark? Here it is. You got the Negroes fighting out. And let's talk about Negro number one. This is why we as Black people, man, we got to be more politically astute. We got niggas like this. And look at how hard he's caping for them. Let's watch the energy and passion Negro number one, D.L. Hughley, is stomping out for these Democrats. You got Joy Reid, you got Steve Harvey. This shit's embarrassing. Let's look at this bullshit real quick. Let's look at this shit.
Watch it's insulting. I really do. I find it insulting for a couple of reasons. I watched a man get convicted of 34 felonies. I watched a man get adjudicated for sexual battery. I watched a man who got convicted of fraud. And never have I heard this fervor from the media in general about his qualifications to be president. George Clooney.
Dude, DL. You can be a felon and be a president. Just because Trump is a felon, again, I ain't pro-Trump, but just because I'm pro using your fucking brain. That's what I'm pro. I'm the political party of use your goddamn brain and understand the political system you arguing about before you go running your black ass mouth. You don't need a fucking, you can be president and be a felon. Have the United States had felons as presidents before? No, but the reason why they're allowed is because the United States could foresee someone that they're wanting in office having a few felonies. Hell, most presidents, the difference between them being felons and not being felons is either sheer luck, money, or money, power, and influence. Because all of them have done things to get felonies. Hell, the Bush family, speaking of felons, look at the Bidens. The Bidens have done so many things that it's a book called The Bidens. Y'all should go look that up. I haven't read the whole book. I've only read part of it. I have not read the full book, but I've read some of this book. Boy, y'all need to get this book. It's called The Bidens. I have this book. These motherfuckers, these are some thugs right here, boy. Talking about the scandal that helped the Bidens rise to power. All the people that had to be, I don't want to use the word sacrifice because that word can take the wrong context. But all the people who had to be stepped on and stepped over for them to get their money. The Bushes, the Kennedys, the Clintons. We don't even want to start that argument about felonies and presidents, D.L. Hughley. We don't even want to start that. President Biden, whether you like him or not like him, that motherfucker needs to retire. You see the way he walking and talking? Yesterday, Biden called Vice President Harris, he called her Vice President Trump. And then turned around and called Zelensky, leader of the Ukraine, Putin. Do you understand? Calling Zelensky Putin, that would be the equivalent of going into Death Row Records and calling Suge Knight Puffy. Or going into Bad Boy Records and you've been giving Bad Boy Records $50 billion. Imagine your taxes help fund Bad Boy Records to the tune of damn near $500 billion, damn near. And then when you come to talk about them, you say, and I want your leader, your strong leader of Bad Boy Records, Suge Knight. That's the equivalent, but even deeper than that, because they should go even deeper than some East Coast, West Coast rivalry. That's what Biden did. And this is what this dude right here is stomping for. But let's go ahead.
Clooney never talked about in that whole article. He didn't mention Project 2025 once. Neither did Stephanopoulos. None of them did. But you're going to tell me how somebody's old?
The polls are showing a downward spiral.
That is not true.
Joe Biden.
That is not true.
Well, it is.
That is not true.
Every poll, DL, is showing that. But
they're virtually where they were. The polls are virtually where they were.
No, they're not.
That's not.
No, they're not. No, they're not. They're just not. And you can look at the CBS poll, look at the CNN poll. He is losing in every battleground state now.
Let's see. Let's verify that. They said that he is losing in every battleground. Let me see here. Let me see. Okay. Let's see. A Pew Research Center. Okay. So Pew Research Center is saying, and this is after the debate, they're saying that, okay, they're going through talking about who's more mentally sharp. Trump. Okay, Trump is leading in these polls. Okay, Pew Research polls. Dissatisfaction. Okay. They're going through. Okay. Mentally sharp. Okay, Trump leading in that poll. Okay. Let's go some other polls. Let me see here. Okay. Nah, Forbes, I'm never gonna give you hoe ass niggas no money. Fuck y'all. Let me see here. Let me see in the head-to-head. They're saying Trump will lead, but Biden leads. Trump leads Biden in the swing states. Okay. So what it's saying is 67% of the polls think that Biden should withdraw. Okay. 54% say Biden should drop out. 81% say he should lead. Okay, so what you get here in the polls is overall it looks like Biden's leading in the national poll, but in the state-to-state polls, which the swing states, which is what matters the most. Because remember, Trump won the national ticket in 2020. Trump won. But Biden won the states. And that's what matters. That's what matters. So, yeah. So basically, TMZ is right. This is an hour ago on The Economist. Okay, Trump leading the poll. So, right here, you got a stupid Democrat shill who, when being informed of new information, he's still sticking to it. And this is what happens with a lot of these pro-Dem dudes. And also them heavy Republicans, people who are entrenched on their side of the political party. Try to give them facts, Republican or Democrat. You might as well just fart, because it's going to mean the same thing and make it stink to make them, so at least they smell the bullshit that they putting out through their mouth. Let's go back and listen to this shit again.
They were.
No, they're not.
That's not.
No, they're not. No, they're not. They're just not. And you can look at the CBS poll, look at the CNN poll. He is losing in every battleground state now.
Hold aside.
So the point I'm making is the people who are saying that Joe Biden's mental acuity is just not there anymore are not supporting Donald Trump. At least in the Democratic Party.
Your point is that the mass media tends to be more liberal.
They want to defeat Donald Trump, but they don't think Joe Biden can do it.
Well, okay, maybe they don't think that. But the conversations that they're having are not really the things that will. If Joe Biden is a nominee, I don't know how you buy this back. But if we were having conversations, as wished for in Project 2025, the Department of Education is disbanded. Who does that hurt? If the social safety net is gone, who does that hurt? If environmental rollbacks are taken back, who does that hurt? If if women lose the right for their bodily autonomy. Who does that hurt? So I will respect people's rights.
See how he just went on with the whole, all they said in TMZ was, hey, we might need a different person on the Democrat ticket. Well, the Democrats, not we. I ain't Democrat. The Democrats might need a different person on the ticket because the country thinks Biden looks half dead. And this motherfucker goes into talking about Project 2024. And that's why I introduced today's discussion with Project 2024. And how we as black people, we call this Tuesday. It doesn't, will it hurt people? Yeah. In a lot of ways it will. I'm not saying it won't. But we're already there. It'll for the most part catch them up to what we've been up to. But again, like we said before, D.L. Hughley didn't really start to learn how to read until what, he was 30? He wasn't paying attention in history class, so he don't know. He's a very funny comic. He was out there cracking jokes. He wasn't out here reading history books. He doesn't know that we know what's been out there and how we as black folks aren't scared of this shit. And he's over here acting like he doesn't understand, like what I proved to you guys earlier. Doesn't matter which president gets in office. Yes, the Heritage Foundation is definitely an organization that's more Republican leaning, but some of their most catastrophic legislation, especially regarding education, D.L. Hughley, has come at the hands of either Democrats or Republicans, at both Democrats and Republicans. The educational part, the part that he act like he's caring about the most now, this Heritage Foundation has already done that damage to Black America, D.L. Hughley. Why the fuck you so late to this, bruh? It's always these non-politically astute motherfuckers that talk the loudest. God damn.
Right to have their vantage point. But for me, there's a decided difference between somebody being disappointed with the outcome of election and having a disastrous result.
Why are you so angry?
So if we're going to have conversations, let's have conversations what is really at stake. The worst that would happen is if Joe Biden couldn't do it, a very competent, capable woman would step in and do it. So how is this a real argument?
What is it?
How's it a real argument?
Your point is stick with the incumbent.
I'm going to tell you how it's a real argument, D.L. Hughley, because one, just because she steps in that office doesn't mean that there aren't other policies that she's championing that won't hurt us. Here's the reason why I bring that up, because the Democrats aren't giving us any kind of policy, anything. Then, if they're so scared of Project 2025, why don't some executive order, why don't some laws get passed now that can thwart that? Why don't we put additional funding into here's some things that they can do. The Democrats, to pay it forward, they can fund education nationally, greater funds. How they can fund the 1977 rights law, mental health act case, and fund, because America has never totally funded the IEP system, the special education system. Biden could put together some policy right now in the next couple months that's going to fully fund special education nationwide, and it's going to fund. He can fund and put into legislation right now policies that are going to bring back vocations and fully fund those in schools nationwide for all people. How about that? There are things the Biden administration can do right now, or at least policies that they can introduce to say what they will do if elected, but they're not doing that. They got niggas like you running around who don't know shit about history trying to scare the rest of us into voting out of fear. See, man, look, y'all. This is why you got to understand history, man. We got to understand the country we live in, the context we live in, the times we live in. We have to understand that, because if you don't understand your history, if you don't understand the times that you live in, if you don't understand where you are, the country you're in, you can be swayed by anything. And D.L. Hughley is obviously somebody who has not taking the time to learn the country he lives in. He's somebody who is obviously not taking the time to learn about anything regarding the context in which these laws have harmed Black America and how the Democrat Party, although they tend to say black, speak black, act like they care about us, they tend to not give a fuck about us through their policy. Not through what they say, but through what they do. Y'all remember the episode of Martin when Martin was a love doctor? That was one of the funniest episodes ever. When remember the episode when Tommy was hooking up when Martin, when he was on that talk show, and Tommy was hooking up with Pam, and they were going at it, and then Martin was giving Tommy all that advice, and he didn't know that he was giving Tommy advice to hook up with Pam. It was this one scene in that one when he was like, "I'm the love doctor." He's like, in real love, it's not about what you say, it's what you do. Remember when Mark would do that? That shit was funny as hell. He was like, it's not what you say, it's what you do. That shit was funny. That's one of the most classic episodes of Martin ever, The Love Doctor. I remember I recorded that shit on VHS tape back in the 90s. And I replayed that. We would play that shit when it would be nothing else on TV. Let's just go turn on the Love Doctor episode of Martin. But it's some real shit. Politics is not what you say. It's what you do. And when Trump was in office, that motherfucker didn't do shit. He did a whole lot of tweeting and talking. But he didn't really do nothing. It's what you do. And Martin ended up hooking Tommy up with his biggest enemy off that. That nigga, that episode's funny as hell. When he found out he hooked Tommy up with Pam, remember they went to commercial? And they came back, he was like, somebody got to break them apart? That nigga was sick. That nigga was sick. But that's some real talk. It's not about what these politicians say. It's what they do. And Joe Biden has gotten in office and he's done a lot for immigrants. He's done a lot for the Ukraine. He's done a lot for the trans community. He's done a lot. Joe Biden has most definitely done a lot for a lot of people. But what has he done for us? What has he done for us? What has he done for us lately? Do, 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 do. Ooh, yeah. Good evening. We are going to have a music show later on today, playing a lot of your new artists that are and new songs that have come out over the last few months, over the last few years. And we're going to highlight some artists that you may have never heard before over on Twitter, on Mixcloud. Come to the live on Mixcloud, but support the Mixcloud through Patreon. Join my Patreon. You don't have to go to the highest level one. Just join the Patreon and show that you love the music. Just go join the Patreon and show that you love the music. For the archives. Live Interview Lounge is coming back. I had a few switch ups that happened with summertime scheduling. But we have on Patreon, we got past episodes. I got my music history course up right now over on Patreon. We have some of the older archived, no longer available to the public, a history of black music shows that I've done, listening parties. A lot of stuff that's exclusive only to Patreon. So we have a lot more coming to you right now. So join the Patreon for that. And then follow me on Twitter, because when you follow me on Twitter, what you're going to get is you can just join the live and see what I'm doing live with that. We got the shop. It's summertime, y'all. It's almost it's almost a 1-year anniversary for the Riverboat Fuck Around and Find Out Brawl. Get your merch right now at thewanb.com. Get it right now. Get it right now. You click on breakthroughcards.com for your readings. Click on Breakthrough Cards for your readings. We're going to have some more readings coming up pretty soon. All right. So all things at thewanb.com for all that I'm doing. All right, we're gonna do our music show probably around 6 o'clock tonight. I thought about taking some calls. How long I been here? Hour and 15, yeah. I got some more shit to do. We gonna do another show later on, so I ain't gonna take no calls because we're gonna be doing some music. Quan, you gonna be there? Mods, y'all gonna be there? In the Mixcloud, mixcloud.com/thewanb. Y'all want? I just put the Mixcloud in the link. Y'all want to click on that and subscribe so y'all can get notifications to when I go live with my music mixdowns. All right. So make sure y'all get that right now. Put that in your shit right now. Yeah, but overall, Project 2025, black folks, look. What did Tina Marie say? I've been here before. I can feel it for sure. I've been here before. Shit. We've been here before, folks. We ain't got, look, they gonna do what they do. Our agenda is reparations. We can't move forward with none of this shit until y'all repay what y'all done did. And until y'all repay that, this country's rights can continue to be stripped apart. Who cares? Welcome to Black America 1865. Welcome to Black America 2024. So people can get on the reparationist agenda with us, or they can watch groups like the Heritage Foundation, Act Blue, and all these different think tanks. Y'all can continue to watch them strip your rights apart year by year, Congress by Congress, president by president, Senate by Senate. You can guarantee it. Supreme Court House by Supreme Court House. Until you do right by us. Project 2025. Welcome to Black America, bitches.